Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. My name is Amanda and I'm a homesteader here in Cincinnati, Ohio, Zone 6. And today is just a very chill and relaxed day in the garden. I checked the forecast. We were supposed to be getting so much rain, and somehow all of that rain has just disappeared somehow. So I went ahead and got my sprinkler running. This year is new for me for using a spray sprinkler or like a fan sprinkler like this. But I've been doing it and it seems fine. I've heard a lot of different people say that we should not be watering the foliage of our tomato plants. I'm just gonna do it. My time is so limited these days with markets and working full-time with my day job. And then of course wanting to be able to share my garden with you guys. I have very limited time. So for watering and taking care of my garden, I have resorted to using a sprinkler. And that is okay, because I'm doing what I can to sustain my garden. I do have some drip tape that is in my garage. I just never set it up. Last year, since I have, you can't see them because there's so much green growth, but I have 2 fabric raised beds, and I had set up the drip tape on those fabric raised beds, but because they are raised and not connected together, there's like a gap between them, the drip tape just kind of like arches, and I feel like a majority of the water just drops out right there instead of in the beds. So I hadn't gotten around to setting those up. But yeah, so I am doing what I can with the time that I have. I am currently working on a pretty big project, or I don't want to say big, a project I'm excited about in terms of a video for this channel. So just recently I celebrated 3 years here on YouTube, and I somehow stumbled across a video on my Google Drive that was one of the videos that I had done as practice for making content. And it was one of those ones that I did not ever post because it was me practicing. It was with a DSLR Canon camera, which is more of a point and shoot camera than a video recording camera. The camera was not meant for video, really, because it does not autofocus when it's in video mode. You have to manually focus it. And so there were so many like clips of me talking to this camera, and it was just completely out of focus and focused on the background. Nowadays I do most of my content, or almost all of my content, on my iPhone, simply because it takes pretty dang good footage. The audio quality is pretty okay, and every once in a while, if I'm doing like a sit-down talk or explanation of some sort, I will have this camera as well as my DSLR set up, because if I'm sitting still, it stays in focus. So I can have 2 angles at once, which is fun. But today, I really wanted to sit and relax, and just kind of enjoy my Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning. I went and grabbed some coffee, which was nice, and I got the things to do a manicure at home, which was fun, and stopped at a couple of thrift stores to just check things out. I found a pretty headband, which I'm gonna have to figure out how to actually tie on my head, because it's silk, and all of my other headbands that I use are cotton, so they kind of grip a little bit better. But it was just a nice, relaxing day. I did also stop at my favorite greenhouse and grabbed 2 more plants. They're having like their buy one get one sale because of how far into the season we are. And I also picked up a house plant, which was a beautiful, beautiful house plant, and some more liquid fertilizer for my green stalks. So while that is going, I'm gonna have my sprinkler on for about an hour and a half or so, because no more rain. But I'm gonna show you guys the plants I picked up. So I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna be putting these plants, but I had to go stop in and see what they had, and I can't help myself when it comes to plants. So they had a bunch of pepper plants still, and this one caught my eye because the foliage is just so petite. You can kind of see that difference. And this is a pepper Thai dragon, and it is a hot pepper. It says it is 1 to 3 inches long, red or dark red chili. Plants generally grow 1 to 2 feet in height and can produce up to 200 chilies in a single season. I didn't even read that. I just thought that the foliage was so pretty. So this is kind of a compact pepper plant. I have my pepper bed that is down on the lower half of the garden. I just think that the compost, I don't know if it's the compost. Something is just not quite right in that garden bed. And so some of the pepper plants are stunted. Some of them look fantastic. I don't know if it's the weather, if it's the compost. Yeah. So I have 2 more pepper plants I'm adding to the garden. Then I also got the Chocolate Beauty Bell. This is a 4-inch wide, 6-inch long, sweet pepper, thick-walled, and matures from green to red. And he already has a little bell on there. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that guy off when I actually do plant this guy, which I will do today. I'll have to figure out where though. So beyond that, I did get some Grow Big tomato fertilizer or plant fertilizer. I think it's Fox Farm. Basically, I just use that to fertilize my green stalks. I do it once a week or once every 2 weeks, just kind of depending on how they're looking. You really want to make sure when you're fertilizing that you're following the directions on those guys, just so that you're not supersizing the fertilizer, because that can burn your plants, make them a little crispy and stunted. Alright, so everything's getting watered. After the sprinkler is done in the back part of the yard, I'll move it to the side yard so that it's getting those plants over there. But I don't know if any of you guys have been having this issue. So last year was the first year I noticed this pest. This year it is extensively worse. Like, it's so much worse. So I think it was a few years ago they had announced that the spotted lanternfly has made its way to the US. So this year I noticed it a bunch in the spring on my roses. So I had taken to basically just like hand squishing them, which, because I don't really like putting chemicals in my garden, that is just how majority of the time, that's how I go about removing a pest. Every once in a while, if it's super bad, I'll put like diatomaceous earth on it, which, if you're going to use diatomaceous earth, just be aware that it does not discriminate on bugs. No matter what kind of bug it is, it's going to get into the system. I did use some of that on some of my roses because they were just covered. I had noticed probably like a week or two ago that one of my cilantro plants had been covered, and the cilantro had gone to seed. So I just opted to basically rip the plant out of the ground, and then just step on it, get rid of all the spotted lantern flies. So now, as I see them, I've gotten to the point where I can actually just flick them, because they were kind of like leaf hoppers, like the candy striped leaf hoppers. Like once you get close to them, they sense you and they'll go ahead and just pop off. But I found out that if you flick them, or if you get them after you've watered the garden or it's rained, because the water just makes it a little bit harder for them to get away, that it's a little easier to get them. So today I was flicking them. I think it's going to be a losing battle, because no matter what, there's going to be some in the area. Especially, I've noticed on my local gardening group, lots of people have mentioned seeing them or spotting them in the area. So it's going to be a losing battle. I did notify, like, I think it's Ohio Agriculture. It's some website online for like my state specifically, and I'm sure every state probably has this, where you can like tell them that you've spotted an invasive species of some sort. So I notified them. I don't know that they really do anything other than like probably just take that information in. So yeah. We're in the part of the gardening season where things are they're just growing. We're not getting like production of any sort really, but we're just waiting to see what's gonna happen. Things are bushing out so much. One of my tomato plants that got gnawed down to a stump because of, I think it was a deer, shot out two new leaders from the armpits, and is now like, each one is like more than a foot long. Just, things are just growing. I've got massive tomato plants inside of my tiny little kiddie pool here. This water feels so good. And yeah. I really didn't have much of anything important to get on here and share with you guys. I just wanted to get on here and spend some time with you guys in my garden. Tell you about my exciting little plant haul and just a relaxing day. So I hope you guys are having a beautiful weekend and that you are also having a relaxing day. If you guys want to enjoy any of my other content, I'll go ahead and pop a video up here for you guys to enjoy until my next upload. But until then, thank you guys so much for joining me in my garden. Happy Sunday, and I'll see you guys in the next one.